Hey, hello, and welcome to the show. It is me, John Park, and it is time for JP's product pick of the week. Thank you so much for stopping by and for jumping into our chats. We have people over in our YouTube. The YouTube is flooded with people. Oh, do I have a thing for that? I do. Look, there's the YouTube. You can join me in welcoming Dave Odessa and Burton R., Jeff Hunt 6838, and Andrew Farnsworth, Justin Kovacic, Happy Hansha, and just some human J80. Netventive, hello, hello. Thanks for stopping in from the city of Salt. We've also got, if you're somewhere where there doesn't seem to be a chat, and I must admit, YouTube did not seem to want to launch today. I don't know what's going on with it. Let's see, are they playing along now? Nope. But if you are somewhere else like Twitch and there's no chat apparently going on, you'll want to check out that place right there, our Discord server, and that's at adafruit.it/Discord, and then you can look for the live broadcast chat channel. That one right there. And hello to Starman and Den Coliano and Thin Man for stopping by. Thanks for hopping into the chats. So what do we got going on today? I have a new product pick for you, and if you want to go and get a jump start, that's the URL, that's the QR code, that's the product ID, so it's 5871. If you just type in adafruit.it 5871, that'll take you there, or just click that, follow that. You will see that this show is being broadcast from inside of the product page, and you can go ahead and order before the end of the show or before they sell out in order to get a big, huge discount. These are I don't know what the percentage is there, but a pretty big discount. I'll let you do that math. 10 per customer. I think we have over 100 in stock, so we should be able to do okay on those. So go check that out right there. What I would like to do next is have Lady Ada from her new segment in Ask an Engineer, going back a few months, on this particular product, give us a little talking to. Take it away, Lady Ada.
Next up, a little handy USB switch. We were going to use this for a project. If you have one USB port and you have two devices and you want to switch between two different devices, like what would connect to the USB port as a peripheral, you want a mux. So this is what it is. So if you go to the first photo. So on the top and the bottom is the USB host connection. So it's ground, D minus, D plus, and 5 volts. And there's a USB-C port with the 5.1K resistors required to kind of make it a standard USB 2.0 port. And then by default, port 1 is connected. But then if you flip, I think S is pulled low by default. If you pull it high, port 2 is connected. And then if you pull it low, port 1 is connected. You flip back and forth as much as you want. There's a switch inside, a little chip in the middle that is designed for USB 2, 480 megabit per second speed. So it's, can be used with video devices and high speed USB devices. It doesn't cut power, which is a pro or a con, just something to watch out for.
That's a great feature. This is not what I want.
Yeah, it depends. If you want something that cuts the power, this is not it. It will switch only the data lines, which means your devices stay powered, but they have to know that they're being re-enumerated. And I will say that some microcontrollers, depending on the USB stack, will not re-enumerate. So if you are, I've found I switched like a FTDI chip and a USB stick, like a key, data key. Those worked fine because they recognized, the data lines went away and then they came back and they re-enumerated and came on. But I think I had like a Trinky and it didn't. So what you'll want to do is if you have a microcontroller and you're running your own USB stack, either add code to detect that you've lost USB connection and re-enumerate, or you'll want to also connect that that S pin or whatever that's controlling the S pin, also reset the microcontroller to tell it, hey, I want you to kick again, start over, and try re-enumerating USB, because a lot of them, will only really try the USB connection at the beginning. Again, for microcontrollers. For a lot of mice, keyboard, USB serial adapter, they're going to be fine because they're all using hard-coded USB interfaces that will reconnect when the data resets. So maybe handy. It's not a hub, it's a switch, one or the other.
Yeah, that's right. It is a hub. It is a switch, not a hub. Let's bring these photos up right here. Look, that right there is the product pick of the week this week. It is the TS3 USB 30, and it is a 1 to 2 USB 2.0 switch. So this is pretty cool. We've got host ports on the two ends there. It's an either or. You can use that USB-C connector, or if you're doing a little more of an elaborate wiring job, you can use the 4 pins down at the bottom. And then on the sides there, or the top and the bottom, if you look at that top picture, you can see we got port 1 and port 2. And to those you'll connect up the usual 5-volt ground and then plus and minus differential for data of 2 USB devices. Could be couple of mice, could be some joysticks, keyboards, maybe some storage stuff. Lady Ada was saying some webcams, those sorts of things. Whatever you hook up to those two, they're going to get power all the time from the USB host that you plug this into. But only one of them is going to be sending data at a time. And so you'll see on the top board there, that little letter S, that pin right there, that's the switch pin. That is high by default, and that I believe gives us port 2. And then if you ground it with a physical switch of some kind, you will switch over to port 1. So you'll flip between which device is sending data to your host, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look right here. This is the site, and you can see it is, let me go ahead and refresh this. Yeah, it is fully in stock, and these are on sale today for $1.98, so about half price. These are usually $3.95. And you can get up to 10 of them, no resellers allowed. If you take a look, this one doesn't even have a learn guide. It's just that simple. So maybe this this video will help you if you have any questions about how to wire this thing up. But there is a link to the data sheet here. So if we follow that link, this is a Texas Instruments chip right here, and it says this is a high bandwidth switch specially designed for the switching of high-speed USB 2 signals in handset and consumer applications such as cell phones, digital cameras, and so on. So any case where you have a really limited number of ports and you don't want to use a hub, and you don't want to use 2 things at once, you want to keep things simple and just switch between 2 USB devices, this is the way to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a little demo I've put together of this. So let's go get oriented right here. So how about a little miniature me on the side there? And I'm gonna, whoops, yeah, let's goose that exposure, and I'm gonna, let's see, how's that focus? Focus looks pretty good. Yeah, okay. So as you can see here, I've got a couple of panel mount USB connectors, USB-A connectors for port 2 and port 1. And plugged into them, I have this big fight stick here on one side, and I have this little Raspberry Pi mouse on the other side. And then I've connected a little toggle switch to the signal and ground so that I can flip between these two. And then this is plugged into my computer, the workstation we're looking at right here, over a USB cable. So if we want to see this in action, what I'm going to do is bring up a little screen capture here of a web browser running a gamepad tester. So that's just an easy way for me to show you, okay, right now this gamepad is connected and I'm receiving inputs in that browser. If I try wiggling this mouse right here or scrolling it, it doesn't do anything. Even though mouse looks like it's live, it's got power, no data. So what I'm going to do now is, flip this switch here, and then you'll see we lost connection to the joypad that disappeared from that browser, and now the mouse is in control. If we switch back over to, I'm using a microcontroller here, so this probably needs resetting, but yeah, so if we switch back over to, I'm going to use a different mouse, the gamepad here, this is a gamepad running a KB2040, so as Lady Ada said, sometimes you'll need to re-enumerate them. Sometimes you can get away with sending data at the right time. So if I disconnect that and try connecting this while I'm hitting buttons, it seems like it wakes it up enough to say, hey, I'm here. So your mileage will vary depending on computer or device you're plugged into, types of hubs you may or may not have in the way. But it is a pretty interesting little device, and it's fairly cheap. One use similar to this that I may employ is for different types of Raspberry Pi based retro gaming builds, retro Pi type of builds. Often having two devices plugged in really seals the deal that those are for user or player 1 and player 2. If you want to switch over to a keyboard input for player 1 for something, you're either going to have to plug and unplug stuff or use a little switch like this to allow a different device to take over for player 1. So I haven't tried that, so correct me if I'm wrong, but that's I think a typical use for this sort of thing is don't want to be unplugging and replugging, but I do need to tell the data on one port to only come from a single USB peripheral device. So let's see, what else have I? Let me see if there's anything else to let you know from my notes here. That's it. Oh, one other thing, I didn't use this, but there is a enable pin that you can use to disable both. It's by default it's enable. It'll enable both ports. You can, if for whatever your use is or whatever the host device wants, you'll see this OE pin up at the top there next to port 1. I believe you can ground that in order to disconnect both of the peripherals. So you may find a little 2-pole switch will do it for you. This one in this case I could probably go ground to signal on one side and ground to OE on the other on the little toggle switch that I had. No, that won't work. Probably need 2 switches or a more complex rotary switch. Let's see, what else? Any other questions on this? Let me check in with the chats. Where'd my Discord go? We're good. And how about over on YouTube? Do we have an HDMI version of this? I've been wanting to make my own multi-input hub with both USB and HDMI. I don't believe we do. So yeah, I think the point with these is that it's a little trickier than just putting a physical switch in the way. So this chip is designed for USB data specifically. So we may have to look around and see if there is an HDMI one, if that's useful. I've got like commercially available switches that I've used before that are HDMI selectors, so I know the chips are out there. So maybe that's something, if at some point Limor wants to do a great search and see what chips exist out there for HDMI switching, that could be pretty neat. Let's see, there's no direction to the switch, right? Like it could be used to connect one keyboard to 2 different Pis. Actually, I'm not sure about that. This is, I think this is 1 to 2 and not also 2 to 1. So 1 host, 2 peripherals. That's my guess on it. Let's look at the data sheet to see, or if anyone knows in the chat, let me know. So let's see. Yeah, the device multiplexes differential outputs from a USB host device to one of 2 corresponding outputs. Switch is bidirectional and offers little or no attenuation of the high-speed signal in the outputs. That's not conclusive to me, so I'm not sure. All right, that'd be a good one to Google or try. I'll try it sometime. I won't try it right now. Okay, let's see. Anything else? No, that's it. Okay, so I think that is going to wrap it up. Don't forget, you can head right there if you want to go and pick up one or a few of these on a nice discount before the end of the show, and then the price is going to go back up afterwards. That right there is, bring up a picture of it, and that right there. That right there, that's the product pick of the week this week. It is the TS3 USB 30 1 to 2 USB 2.0 switch. For Adafruit Industries, I'm Tom Park. This has been JP's product pick of the week. See you next time. Bye-bye.